The year 2024 is shaping up to be a landmark year for SpaceX, marked by extraordinary achievements in its Starship program and record-breaking advancements in the Falcon and Starlink initiatives. These milestones underscore SpaceX's ascent as a dominant force in the space industry, earning it recognition as the highest-valued company on the planet. Yet this success has been tempered by a series of legal battles that cast a shadow over the company's triumphs. Among these challenges, the most high-profile conflict pits SpaceX and Elon Musk against Silicon Valley, a region renowned as the global epicenter of technological innovation. The standoff reached a boiling point when the California Coastal Commission denied SpaceX permission to conduct additional launches at its site, citing Musk's political statements as their rationale. This decision infuriated Musk, who has been outspoken in his criticism of government officials. In response, SpaceX filed a lawsuit accusing the commission of infringing on Musk's right to free speech and exceeding its legal authority. No further details about the lawsuit have been disclosed, but many believe the California Coastal Commission may be prioritizing personal biases over the broader interests of the United States. Previously, Elon's relationship with California has been marked by both mutual benefit and mounting tensions over the years. Musk established SpaceX in 2002 in Hawthorne, part of the greater Los Angeles area, and the company quickly became a cornerstone of the state's aerospace industry. Over the years, California supported Musk's ventures with substantial incentives, including more than $3.2 billion in direct and indirect subsidies, as well as favorable adjustments to regulations and market mechanisms to accommodate his businesses. These incentives reflected California's commitment to fostering innovation and maintaining its position as a hub for cutting-edge technology and industry. For much of this time, Musk's operations brought immense economic and reputational benefits to the state. Tesla's Fremont factory became one of the most productive car manufacturing facilities in the U.S., while SpaceX revitalized the aerospace sector in Southern California, creating thousands of jobs and spurring entrepreneurial activity in related industries. However, the relationship began to sour as Elon clashed with state officials over regulatory frameworks, labor policies, and, most notably, pandemic restrictions. These disputes highlighted a growing divide between Elon's vision for his companies and California's political and economic approach. Despite the earlier cooperation, Musk increasingly voiced his dissatisfaction with the state, criticizing its policies as overly restrictive and dismissive of the needs of businesses. The growing friction eventually led to Musk's decision to relocate the headquarters of both Tesla and SpaceX to Texas, a state with fewer regulations and lower taxes. This move represented Elon's disappointment with California at the time. However, it seems that even losing such companies has not been enough to make California's top officials wary of Elon Musk. On the contrary, they have criticized him and implemented various measures to hinder the growth of his companies, particularly under the Biden administration. But a major blow may soon be dealt to California's efforts, as the political landscape has shifted. Elon is now one of the key allies of President-elect Donald Trump. Under Trump's administration, SpaceX is certain to receive maximum support to unleash its full potential. What can the new government do to support SpaceX? First, Trump and Elon are likely to address the unresolved issues in California, specifically the refusal by the California Coastal Commission to allow SpaceX to conduct more launches despite clearance already being granted by the Space Force. Once Trump takes office, he is expected to introduce a range of measures to curb opposition from Governor Gavin Newsom and organizations like the California Coastal Commission. These actions will not only alleviate the political pressures placed on SpaceX by these entities, but also foster a more favorable environment for the company's operations. For example, Trump could enact federal policies that limit the power of state agencies to interfere with space projects, particularly those endorsed by the U.S. Space Force or other defense agencies. This would make it more challenging for the California Coastal Commission to obstruct SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launches. In addition, Trump might leverage economic strategies, such as reducing federal funding or imposing stricter support conditions, to compel these agencies to align with his administration's directives. This scenario would not only enable SpaceX to operate more smoothly, but also highlight the complex interplay between politics and business amidst federal and state-level conflicts. Beyond addressing regulatory hurdles, Trump's administration is likely to introduce a friendly regulatory environment benefiting Elon Musk companies, including SpaceX and the Starlink satellite network. Previously, Musk had already asked Trump to hire employees from SpaceX's top government officials, including the Department of Defense, which is one of the company's biggest customers. Such a move could position Musk to more directly weigh in on regulatory issues. Regarding Starship, a transformative reusable rocket being developed by SpaceX to transport people and cargo to the Moon and Mars, Musk has repeatedly expressed frustration with the regulatory environment that SpaceX and other launch providers must navigate. For example, Starship's most recent test flight was grounded by the Federal Aviation Administration for weeks due to what the rocket company called a superfluous environmental analysis. It's not unreasonable to think that there could be either monetary or regulatory regime shifts to benefit the pace of Starship development. Casey Dreyer, the chief of space policy at the Planetary Society, told Space.com, "The extent to which regulations surrounding Starship get relaxed, as well as the direction of U.S. space policy, will ultimately depend on where Elon falls in terms of his influence within the Trump White House." It's hard to extrapolate that from Trump's first term, 2017 to 2021, which notably included the initiation of the Artemis program to return humans to the Moon for the first time since the Apollo days. This program was championed by then Vice President Mike Pence as the chair of the National Space Council and space policy expert, Scott Pace as executive secretary. Trump himself spearheaded the establishment of the Space Force, the first new military service created since 1947, which he claimed as one of his proudest accomplishments of his first term in office. Trump stated he would strengthen U.S. military defenses in space by creating a Space National Guard, an idea that lawmakers in Congress have been proposing since 2021, but have yet to garner enough support to pass. In recent months, Musk has advocated identifying $2 trillion in savings from the federal budget as the head of a new government efficiency commission, which he said will ensure taxpayer money is spent in a good way. A rich source of opportunity for cost-cutting and a potential conflict of interest for Musk could be NASA's massive space launch system, the centerpiece of the Artemis program, which debuted in 2022. When it launched the uncrewed Artemis 1 Phoebe mission to the Moon, the mega rocket, which is not reusable and can launch only once every 2 years, cost roughly $4 billion per launch, quadruple initial estimates, making it effectively unaffordable for future Artemis missions. Meanwhile, the program's Orion crew capsules faced issues with its heat shield that a recent audit determined threatens the safety of the crew, and with it, the timeline of NASA's goal to land humans on the Moon in 2027. With SpaceX on track to lower the cost of a single Starship flight to less than $10 million, the broader architecture of Artemis is sure to get a hard look, even as NASA Associate Administrator Jim Free urged the incoming administration to maintain the current plans. Historically, SLS and Orion development have received substantial funding from a broad coalition. The program supported more than 69,000 jobs nationwide as of 2019. If Elon Musk intends to halt SLS development, he'll likely be contending with internal political support from Republican congressional representatives in red states like Alabama, home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, where large parts of the SLS are being developed, along with Florida and Texas. The new administration's driving force for changes to the Artemis program will be to maintain U.S. leadership in space, particularly to counter China. Dreyer said China's space program has developed rapidly in recent years to now include its own version of Starship, aiming to put astronauts on the Moon by the end of the decade and build a crewed research outpost on the Moon in the next decade in partnership with Russia. China has also moved up its timeline for bringing samples from Mars to Earth, perhaps as soon as 2031, which would be well before the joint NASA-European Space Agency Mars Sample Return (MSR) program does so. The Mars Sample Return (MSR) program, with its entirely independent launch and landing architecture from Artemis, is undergoing a significant overhaul, struggling with soaring costs and persistent schedule delays. Among the potential solutions, SpaceX has emerged as a key contender, submitting a proposal to NASA that leverages the efficiency of its Starship system. The logic is clear. Why spend billions on an independent robotic sample return mission when astronauts aboard Starship could achieve the same goal more effectively? I see a very dim future right now for MSR as an independent project managed by NASA, remarked Dreyer. A more practical and cost-efficient alternative might involve integrating Starship into the MSR program, an approach that aligns with Elon Musk's broader vision of advancing humanity's journey to Mars. While much remains speculative and uncertain, one thing appears increasingly likely. Isaac Minnis is set to become the new NASA administrator under Trump. With the Trump administration preparing to take the reins, the space industry eagerly anticipates the transformative changes that may soon unfold. That wraps up today's discussion. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.